Let's take a more in-depth view now as to what is involved in preparing for an ACE Learning Principles visit and also how that dovetails if you've got a synchronized ACE CIS visit that's taking place. So for a Learning Principles visit, it would be understood that the foundation standards for ACE have already been met. Now, this may be because the school is already accredited or it's already gone through the process of showing that they meet the foundation standards. So at this, for this particular video, we're going to assume that those foundation standards have been met. There will be 3 documents that need to be submitted for the report. One is to cover A, the architecture of learning, one is to cover C, the culture of learning, and one is to cover E, the ecology of learning. Now, when these 3 committees or 3 reports are being constructed, they will of course bear in mind the learning goals, the learning principles, that underpin each of those sections. So the group that's looking at the architecture of learning will be looking at the learning principles 1 through 4, but only producing one report at the end, which will be a synthesis and overview of the architecture of learning within the school. Equally, the committee that's looking at the culture of learning would take cognizance of the 4 learning principles that fall underneath the culture of learning, but only one report will come out of that, that is a summary, a synthesis of all of the culture of learning. And the same thing for the ecology of learning, that group that's looking for the documentation on ecology of learning, they will put together one report which covers the 2 learning principles underneath that. Now, if the school is going through a synchronized visit with CIS, then the CIS domains will also need to be considered. So domain A on purpose and direction, domain B on leadership and governance, E on students' learning and well-being, F staffing, G premises and physical accommodation, and I, which is onboarding. Each of those, obviously I only if it's relevant, those 5 or 6 groups will need to have a committee for each of those structures to put the final reports together. But you'll notice that C, the curriculum, D on teaching and assessing for learning, and H, the community, those 3 from the CIS domains, they're not required to be submitted under the CIS documentation because it's understood that those 3 will be dealt with within the ACE protocol. So for CIS, you've got 5 domains or 6, depending if it's boarding, that you would need to get together and help construct the documentation. And for ACE, you would be looking at the 3 domains, the 3 areas, the architecture for learning, the culture for learning, and the ecology for learning to produce 3 reports there.